What do the sisters mean to our community? They mean everything.
Well, I think their mission of loving to care is truly carried out.
They're very strong women, and they are women of their convictions, and the convictions are just absolutely in service to people.
They have suffused the entire community and left their mark absolutely everywhere.
The spirit of the Sisters of St. Joseph in the community, because of their years of service to the elderly, to children, to education, to healthcare, and then all the other things that they've gotten involved in, parish work, constantly working with the poor, that's the spirit that gives life to a community. It's not often talked about, so it's nice that they're being honored right now, because that's really a gift, pure gift. They're really a gift to everybody.
You know, we're the only Catholic hospital in a 13-county diocese. We're the only Catholic hospital in the 3rd Congressional District. So the things that the sisters formed and the things that the sisters started, those first still exist.
There isn't any area whose playing conditions have changed as drastically as healthcare over the last several decades. The number of institutions that have failed along the way is a prime example of how difficult it is to succeed. St. Vincent has succeeded.
Every single department here at St. Vincent was headed by a Sister of St. Joseph. And there were a lot of nurses who were Sisters of St. Joseph.
The care that they gave their patients and the health care at St. Mary's, that not only was it the great health care and the skilled care and the nursing they needed, both physically, but the spiritual aspect of it, and that kind of love and attention that you don't see in a regular facility like that.
Well, I think healthcare has been a basic and very important issue for them, and they've moved with that. And the thing that we're proud of is that they've kept it to the forefront, but yet kept the Catholic background for the hospital. I think that's a great asset for the city, for the community, and for Northwest Pennsylvania.
Because I was Villa College back in the 70s and 80s, I would go help like down in Meadville. I might have Mass at the hospital with the sisters that served there. And it was that understanding that they really worked hard for that community. I'm sure they're loved in Meadville.
I started grade school at St. John's when I was 5 years old. And the Sisters of St. Joseph at that time taught all 8 grades.
I started at St. Joseph's, finished there. There were 8 rooms, so you could only have 8 grades, and as many kids that would come in would go in 1st grade, 2nd grade through 8th. We had just under 70 children in my class. Boys sat on one side, the girls on the other side. If a boy was bad, he had to sit with the girls. If the girls were bad, they never got to sit with the boys. Nuns were very protective of them. I always wondered why I did well, and then I found out my mother used to take a case of beer to the convent every holiday.
My sense of the Sisters of St. Joseph, like for example, when they saw the need for education, they had the grade school for girls. But you know, when Archbishop Gannon asked them to start something for men who came back from the war, they made room for them. That was the beginning of Gannon College at the Mother House.
As a matter of fact, what they have done in education in the grade schools, the high school, the college, not only here in Erie but throughout the diocese, was really invaluable. And I think many people, unfortunately, did not appreciate that.
There isn't a hospital or medical center in northwestern Pennsylvania that is not at least partially staffed by Villa Maria College nurses.
This is my opinion, very strong opinion. Villa girls rule the world.
I think they taught our kids to be not just good, not behavior-wise, but to be good to one another, to be kind, to understand, to know that there's more than just yourself involved here in your grade school class.
If I don't talk about the charism, I'll be defrocked. So we talk about the charism of the Sisters of St. Joseph, and their initial statement in their Constitution briefly says, the Sister of St. Joseph moves always toward profound love of God and love of neighbor without distinction, period. And from that flows their ministries, from that flows all of the good work that the sisters do each and every day.
We started a program with the orphans. They weren't orphans, most of them, from broken families. And we started a sports program. We did all kinds of things with them. And I just couldn't believe how those Sisters of St. Joseph could take care of those children. There were so many of them. And it was just a struggle. They did it.
The projects they started up in this community, I'm thinking of things like St. Patrick Haven, and now on the west side, the area in the Italian neighborhoods, and just so many things. And of course, the hospital itself is one everlasting reminder of the good they've done.
It gives me that opportunity, which very few lawyers have, not only to try to do first-rate legal work in a professional sense, but to do it in the service of the ministries of this community of women who is really gospel-driven. But when I think of what they do in toto and how they have dedicated their lives to these various ministries, I think of the Beatitudes.
The needs have changed within the community. So education is no longer one of their primary ministries because of these other needs which have evolved over the years in this community and throughout the United States. We see this with all religious communities. But the sisters bring their own unique gift, their own unique spirit wherever they are. And each sister has that gift, and because it's the charism that sister brings to each ministry.
What they're doing and the different things they're doing, whether it's working as a school principal, or being a teacher, or being a nurse, or being a hospice nurse. One of the sisters is a massage therapist. One does arts and crafts. One does a lot of gardening work. And for each of them, it's their own personal ministry. Yes, they have the established ministries for the community, but that one-on-one outreach in everything that they do, I find fascinating, that everyone has that calling to do different things, and they are in the community, and they are involved.
They could be a president of a ministry, and the next year, the next day, they could be a servant in a soup kitchen.
So right now, even though the sisters are dwindling in numbers, we have over 250 associates. Just visualizing those waves moving out to the whole community, and everyone is benefiting from their presence.
The Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network work one-on-one with children and the neighbors, improving one life, one at a time. And they do it. They're turning people around. They're improving the neighborhood.
They do so much for so many people down there. Food, teaching kids, taking care of kids, you name it. They're doing it down there. And it's wonderful for the community. They're just good people.
In this country, they've been big backers of women, and for battered women, for women who didn't have a place to go, for educating women when they didn't have the proper education. They've been the backbone of that, and they still are. My whole life started during the Big Depression, and there was no middle class. You were either poor or rich, unfortunately. I was in that first group. And you didn't have much to go on, but because of the church and the nuns and the priests, my life was developed because I was off the streets. They always had things going for the boys and girls to do, especially the boys.
I can't imagine them not being here and not being part of this community. I mean, how blessed are we? not lucky, we're blessed.
Erie would be devoid, it would be without a spirit, without the Sisters of St. Joseph's. And that spirit has elevated, it has advanced, it has provided leadership, it has provided direction. So you can imagine what this community would be like without the institutions that the Sisters of St. Joseph have established.
I see them as servant leaders. They serve, and by their serving, they do lead their ministries. And I think that was what Jesus Christ was, a servant leader, and what it gives us a day-to-day example of what they do. Another thing is that, you know, they don't quit. They never retire. They're just repurposed.
They've done it all, really, when you get right down to it. They've done just about everything that they've ever taken on, they've accomplished.
And the most important thing, I think, is it's not only the civic contributions and all those physical attributes that go with new buildings and new hospitals and additions. It's what happens inside, you know, the integrity of the soul, of the spirit, so to speak.
I don't know what I would be doing now or where I'd be if it weren't for the guidance that I had from the sisters. And I'm sure there's thousands of people just like me who not just appreciate what the nuns did, but it's vital what they did. Yeah. Thank you. Thank all of them.